A child has no judgment around him or herself, so they're not judging whether that music sounds right or wrong, so they enter into that creative state. That's part of the bliss of being a child. Our desire to share our art is synonymous with our desire to liberate our brothers and sisters. Let us forgive one another, bringing peace to this earth. Let us help our brothers and sisters to end the suffering. Traveling Trav here with my Christmas episode. I'm here to talk with you about the artist. The artist is the one who can entertain him or herself. The artist is the one who creates a secondary world, like J.R.R. Tolkien, who spent many hours creating an elven language, allowing Middle Earth to be born in him. We don't need to consume in the same way that quote-unquote non-artists have to consume. Non-artists may be considered people who just haven't discovered how to create a secondary world for themselves. And we might find that non-artists are actually creating secondary worlds for themselves. The reason artists seem to suffer so much, even though we can create secondary worlds for ourselves, is because we believe so much in our individuality. We believe that we are somehow special, when really the discovery of our art is that which wants to bring us into the non-personal or the non-special aspect of our being. Art is created in community. It may seem like it comes from the individual. Picasso, John Coltrane, Van Gogh. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Somebody told me it's not Van Gogh, it's Van Gogh. Part of the journey of being an artist is that we experience such depth in our creation. We know ourselves as that depth as we are in our creation, and then we come out of that creative state and we are just in this world. And this world is suffering. But the idea, I believe, is to bring the kingdom of heaven or our creation into this world. So hopefully our art gathers community. And when our art gathers community, then the artist may be truly released. In that sense, we may think of Jesus as the greatest artist, right? One whose art, he was a healing artist, right? One who healed, one who spoke such a message that he was able to say, hey, drop your nets. This is going to require your full attention. Let's go. Let's create. Let's bring the kingdom of heaven here to earth. I don't know what this Christmas tree has to do with that, but it's okay. In these acts of creation, we find ourselves to be free. Acts of creation are heightened states of consciousness. They are peak states of consciousness. And we find ourselves trying to make our way back to these states of bliss for the rest of our lives. And this is why we add skills to ourselves. We study the fundamentals of our art. We can have creative acts without the fundamental skills of the art. A child can pick up a drum and enter into a state of creative bliss just by beating that drum. It doesn't even have to be in a consistent rhythm. A child can pick up a guitar and start strumming the strings and have no real musical capacity except for the capacity to enter into that state. A child has no judgment around him or herself, right? So they're not judging whether that music sounds right or wrong, so they enter into that creative state. That's part of the bliss of being a child. Hitler was apparently a heartbroken artist. And Germany, a heartbroken people. You've got to be pretty hurt to go to war against the world, right? Yeah, that's a state of hurt, to go to war against the world. But what one of us does not know, honestly, what it's like to go to war against the world? Have you not been at war against the world before? Some of you haven't, but some of us do know what it's like to feel so fucking hurt that we go to war against the world. Why do we revere artists and musicians? Because they deliver us. I was watching Tommy Emmanuel one time play, and I turned and I looked at the audience, and it seemed to me that everyone was levitating 3 feet off of the seat. We were delivered for a moment. He had created this secondary world for himself by spending all this time with his guitar. He had a relationship with music, a relationship with guitar, a relationship with the divine, and he was sharing that relationship with us and helping us to understand what freedom is like. I've heard that it is for freedom's sake that Christ set us free. Anytime we encounter this freedom, we are encountering the Christ. As an artist, anytime we encounter this freedom, we are in a divine connection. We become the divine, right? John Coltrane, in these moments, becomes the emancipator, the one who composes a love supreme. But my point is this: we have the capacity to embody the divine. We have the capacity to deliver ourselves. We have the capacity to deliver one another as we release, as we choose to set the others free. So in this sense, the pursuance of our art is the pursuance of the divine. Our desire to share our art is synonymous with our desire to liberate our brothers and sisters. We also must detach ourselves from our art form because we are not our art form. And this is where the artist's suffering comes from in many instances. We think we are our art. We think we are that rock star, and we are not that rock star. We are something much deeper. Also, we are not consumers of art. We are creators. We must find our way home, each of us. We must find our truest expression while we are here on earth. We must liberate ourselves, work out our salvation with fear and trembling. And as many artists know, there's a lot of fear and trembling in this creation. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Let's bring these creations, these communal creations, into the world. Let us forgive one another, bringing peace to this earth. Let us help our brothers and sisters to end the suffering.